If you told me 3 months ago I was actually going to enjoy Survivor 45, I would have laughed you out of the room. Several months ago I released Everything Wrong with Modern Survivor, a video you have probably seen. This was me airing my frustration out, no longer able to hide the show that got me through my mid-teens, simply wasn't what it was now. And oh boy, look at where we are now. Is Survivor 45 perfect? No, definitely not after this latest episode, and I do also plan to bring up issues about Survivor 45 in a future video after the season. It can also be argued I'm jumping the gun by praising Survivor 45 only 4 episodes in. We all know when it comes to new twists, the Survivor producers have a tendency of shooting themselves in the foot. But it would be remiss of me to not actually pat production on the back for changes they clearly made following fan backlash after trying to pretend the criticism wasn't valid for the past 2 years. Firstly, let's talk about the elephant in the room. 90-minute episodes. Survivor 45 is the first season to consistently have 90-minute episodes following the writer's strike. 90 minutes have been used before, such as Survivor 43 episode 2, but that was debatably only caused because the show Real Love Boat wasn't finished in time. Survivor production has been wanting this change for years. So, now that it's finally here, it has massively helped the episodes. I started with this point because a lot of the positives of Survivor 45, so far, can be related back to the fact we have 90-minute episodes. Production planned this season with the increased runtime in mind. Even though the episodes are actually only 20 minutes longer because of American advertisements, which we love so much, it undoubtedly makes a massive difference. 90-minute episodes have obviously been received extremely positively by the community, but I do notice one thing that raises concerns. A lot of people seem to credit this season being good solely because production got 90-minute episodes for this season, which I feel is overlooking the changes production actively made in response to fan feedback. For example, I've seen people online saying Survivor 41 would have been a top tier season if they had 90-minute episodes back then. I hate to say that, but 90-minute episodes were definitely not fixing all the awful twists that riled fans up in the first place during that season. But let's delve deeper because, as already stated, Survivor production actually made changes to the new format. If you've been on social media pages or if you've checked out my peers on YouTube, you'll know a lot of criticism was thrown out about Survivor 41 to 44. I will also criticize you if you don't like the video right now. So do it. As much as Survivor production doesn't like to admit it, they're constantly reading social media posts or watching YouTube videos from people that critique the show. I for one know for a fact they've watched my videos and are more than likely watching this video. But I apologise. I don't mean to break the wall. Again, I apologise. John. Survivor 45 saw many changes from the prior 4 seasons. Firstly, the set-out rules have changed. In the ancient days of 2020 and before, there were these things called reward challenges plus immunity challenges. If a tribe member sat out at the reward challenge, then they subsequently had to compete in the immunity challenge. It was a fair system back then. The problem is Modern Survivor virtually got rid of these reward challenges. The rule that forced people to only be able to sit out of one challenge each episode was irrelevant. Because, well, there was only one challenge. Now Jeff has revealed if you sit out of one challenge, then you must compete in the next one, whether it's a day or several days later. I love this. There was too much of a risk in the older format of another tribe steamrolling simply because they could keep sitting out their physically weakest contestants. This then forced the tribe going to tribal council to vote off the perceived weakest to retain tribe strength. Biologically, the average man is stronger than the average woman. Therefore, we had an insanely high percentage of women being voted out, particularly between 43 and 44, where the contestants knew there likely wouldn't be swaps. As a result, 73% of pre-merge boots were female. The figure rises to 89% if we discount Bruce and Matthew's medical-related eliminations. Now, were other factors at play in the season 43 and 44 women's eliminations? Absolutely, but I think most of us can agree the need for physicality and a non-rotating sit-out and non-swap format definitely was a play. On the topic of swaps, we have them. Do I love the fact we're swapping from 3 tribes into 3 tribes? Not really, but considering Survivor production seems to love the idea of small voting numbers, I feel like this is the best middle ground we can achieve with production at this stage. Now the contestants can actually intermingle with people from other tribes before merging instead of using journeys or raids as cross-tribe communication. Both were deeply flawed systems because the socialization time was extremely limited in these events. Again, the effects swaps have on merge dynamics are unknown at this point, but I feel it's a safe bet to conclude that the original tribal lines are more likely to be blurred. Which is good. No Survivor fans want a predictable merge. On another positive note, the puzzles also aren't the same dozen used season after season. You folks might have to pinch me because I never thought I'd see the day, but they've actually got new custom puzzles. Jeff's tongue-in-cheek response in episode 2 when sneaking in this fact was also superb.
Brand new Survivor puzzle. Nobody knows this one.
Production have been pretty open about this change, noting due to the increase in people 3D printing their own puzzles, they have to adapt their challenges. I think this is an amazing decision and now test pure skill rather than the ability to recite. Don't get me wrong, I love Evie, Carson and Matthew. I respect the fact they took the time to create their own versions of the puzzles. It's also not their fault they abused production's previous incompetence. But you have to admit it's a breath of fresh air seeing contestants actually having to formulate solutions in the moment. I'm holding out for this one because I could end up with egg on my face, but so far the amount of ridiculous analogies at Tribal has been comparatively non-existent to other seasons. Last season Survivor 44 was when the fanbase had the most notable outrage over this factor. A substantial amount of Tribal councils were people making analogies, and then Jeff asking another person to expand on another person's analogy, creating this really weird game of telephone that was unenjoyable to the viewer. While the analogies were unique, they were always talking about the same thing. No matter whether you were a knife in a gunfight, a dying hyena circled by vultures, or a broken ride in a bustling theme park, everyone knew you meant the same thing. Finally, Jeff seems to have acknowledged this, cutting down on the analogy perpetuating ideology, and we're cutting the BS in favour of actual tangible information. It's a small change, but it's appreciated if you got bored during the Survivor 44 tribals like me. Other small changes exist, which I'll be honest aren't groundbreaking for me, but they do put a smile on my face. Also, I can understand a lot of Survivor purists enjoy them. So hey, if the community is happy, I'm happy. These include the previously on segments returning, the intro sections, and the auction has been teased to make a return later. Although this auction could turn into another one of those quote-unquote old twists, returning in the modern era, where it's watered down such as Survivor 44's attempt at a swap, Survivor 43's camp raid, and Modern Survivor's reunion show. Yeah, please don't do this again. So I'm going on record, I'm quietly optimistic Survivor 45, this time, will reimagine the auction in a way that doesn't seem like a slap in the face for fans. Another slap in the face was previous Modern Survivor's twists that took agency away from the players for seemingly no reason. This occurred particularly in Survivor 44's premiere, where 3 contestants, Lauren, Sarah and Matthew with 2 arms, had to put their hand into a bag. By had, I mean they were forced. And considering 2 of the 3 scrolls inside it made the contestants lose their vote, both Sarah and Matthew lost their vote without having a say. On a luck-based game. Other more notorious examples include the do or die twist in Tribal Council, the contestants not being told about the control of vote advantage, and ooh, cool hammer, Erica. Erica, no! Now the journeys have contestants being told all the rules of the game beforehand, with no foul punches. The episode 2 dilemma had 3 contestants risking their vote for an advantage if they thought they could do a puzzle and number lock combination in 3 minutes. Again, do I love in a time-sensitive challenge, the end section comes down to luckily arranging the numbers in the correct order? Not entirely, but I would rather this over the prior season's dilemma. Without the dumb phrases, the idols can actually stay hidden too. It finally feels like the contestants get to make decisions for themselves, rather than Survivor 41 and 42, which felt like a Brant Steele simulation at points. Survivor back then clearly didn't trust their contestants, as every round had to be centered around a production twist. The storytelling also feels a lot better and the pacing is great. Is this factor greatly benefited by 90 minutes? Yes. But again, I also feel like the editors have changed their outlooks since pre-45. In those seasons they wanted to tell everyone's story. Now, I did love their backstories, but it did come off as formulaic. In many maroonings, we would get backstory after backstory from contestants. I think production thought it would allow us to connect to the characters more if they showed off a lot of their backstories, but it actually did the opposite. In my opinion, it made it harder for us to remember the backstories because they would cut to one after every tribe life scene. Instead of a person cracking open an almond and using that as a transitional piece for their 20-year backstory, the contestants now get their backstory at times that are more digestible for the viewer. It flows more seamlessly from tribe life to the contestants talking about themselves. The pacing is better, the transition from tribe life to backstory makes sense, plus even though the episodes are longer, there are less character breakdowns, making them more impactful. It's quality over quantity. It's done in a way that doesn't feel like we're being dragged from the tribe conversations to learn one of the 8 backstories in the episode, thus creating a clunky editing style in prior seasons. The expansion of time each episode also allows for us as the viewers to understand the tribe dynamics in a far more intricate way. This also extends to humour. Finally, not all scenes are gameplay exclusive. We can actually watch the contestants let their hair down. Survivor 41 was an extremely serious season, and I only remember laughing once across the 15 hours of content. That moment was Xander awkwardly saying butterflies are dead relatives saying hi, a moment by the show which comes off very artificial. Due to the time constraints, I always used to describe Survivor as a tale of two halves for my friends. You watch the main show for the strategy, and the secret team seemed relegated for the fun character moments. Now we have super fun character moments. Coming into 45, did I expect to see Dee gleefully causing deforestation with her foot? No, although I appreciate it. I don't know whether I'm impressed, scared, or quite frankly in love, but it's certainly something memorable for the show. While the time extension has helped in this department, it's undeniable the removal of the extremely time-consuming twists every episode was a massive advantage. Apart from episode 2, we currently haven't had another massive journey. So many twists were included in 41 and 42, but they were necessary to explain how a contestant got an advantage. As a result, some tribes literally wouldn't get any screen time in some episodes because the editors couldn't fit their tribe dynamics into the episode. If you enjoyed the commentary, drop a sub to support the channel. If I missed any other positives from Survivor 45, let me know in the comments, and check out this other modern Survivor video where we discuss the top 5 best modern tribal councils. Anyway, enjoy your day. Peace!